Have you ever wondered how a civilization that built the pyramids, monuments so grand they can be seen from space, could just disappear? For over 3,000 years, ancient Egypt was a titan of the ancient world, a beacon of power, innovation, and culture. But like all great empires, its story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Today, we're going to unravel the epic tale of the rise and demise of ancient Egypt. Our story begins around 3100 BC, along the life-giving banks of the Nile River. Before this, Egypt was two separate kingdoms, Upper and Lower Egypt. Then, a legendary king named Menes, sometimes identified as Nama, united them. This unification sparked the dawn of the first Egyptian dynasty and the beginning of what we call the Old Kingdom. This was the age of the pyramid builders. Pharaohs weren't just kings. They were seen as living gods. They commanded immense resources and a united population to construct staggering monuments like the Step Pyramid of Djoser and, of course, the Great Pyramids of Giza. These weren't just tombs. They were grand statements of power and gateways to the afterlife, meticulously engineered with a level of precision that still baffles experts today. The society was stable, the harvest was plentiful, thanks to the predictable flooding of the Nile, and Egyptian culture flourished. But this golden age couldn't last forever. The immense cost of building pyramids, combined with a series of severe droughts, weakened the central authority of the pharaohs. Local governors grew more powerful, and the unity of the Old Kingdom crumbled, leading to a turbulent era known as the First Intermediate Period. It was a time of chaos and division. After about a century of instability, order was restored, heralding the Middle Kingdom. This period is often considered the classical age of Egyptian art and literature. The pharaohs of this era were less aloof. They were seen more as shepherds of their people. They focused on fortifying the borders, digging canals to improve irrigation, and re-establishing trade. Egypt became a formidable military and economic power once again. But this stability was shattered by the arrival of foreign invaders to Hyksos. They came from Western Asia, bringing with them advanced military technology like the horse-drawn chariot and the composite bow. The Egyptians, caught off guard, couldn't repel them. The Hyksos took control of Lower Egypt, marking the beginning of the Second Intermediate Period. While this was a blow to Egyptian pride, it was also a crucial learning experience. The Egyptians adopted and perfected the Hyksos military technology, biding their time. Eventually, a series of warrior pharaohs from the south, in Thebes, rose up and drove the Hyksos out. This victory ushered in the most glorious chapter in Egyptian history. The New Kingdom. This was the Age of Empire. Pharaohs like Hatshepsut, the great female pharaoh who oversaw massive building projects and trade expeditions, and Thutmose III, a military genius who expanded the empire to its greatest extent, ruled with absolute power. This era gave us the legendary Valley of the Kings, the magnificent temples of Karnak and Luxor, and, of course, some of the most famous names in history. Think of Akhenaten, the Hittite king who tried to change Egypt's religion to the worship of a single sun god, the Aten, and his son the boy king whose solid gold tomb, discovered in 1922, revealed the incredible wealth of the New Kingdom. Perhaps the most powerful of them all was Ramesses II, or Ramesses the Great. He reigned for an astonishing 66 years, covering Egypt with monuments to his own glory and fighting epic battles, like the Battle of Kadesh. Under his rule, Egypt reached the zenith of its power and influence. So, if Egypt was so powerful, what went wrong? The decline was a slow, complex process, not a single event. A combination of factors began to eat away at the empire's foundations. Constant warfare with neighbors like the Hittites, and later the Sea Peoples, drained the treasury and manpower. Internal strife also played a huge role. There were power struggles between the pharaohs and the increasingly wealthy and influential priesthood of Amun-Ra. The economy began to falter, a series of weak rulers, coupled with corruption and tomb robbing, which was a sign of growing social breakdown, weakened the state from within. Egypt lost its foreign territories and its grip on vital trade routes. By the time of the Third Intermediate Period, the country was once again fractured and vulnerable. One by one, foreign powers saw their chance. First, the Libyans, then the Nubians, from the south, established their own dynasties. Then came the mighty Assyrians, who sacked the great city of Thebes. The Persians were next, incorporating Egypt into their vast empire. For a brief moment, Egypt regained its independence, but it was short. The final act in Egypt, this ancient story, began with the arrival of a name you all know, Alexander the Great. In 332 BC, he conquered Egypt without a fight. The Egyptians, weary of Persian rule, welcomed him as a liberator. After Alexander's death, his general Ptolemy took over, establishing the Ptolemaic dynasty. This new line of rulers were Greek, not Egyptian, but they cleverly adopted Egyptian customs and religion to legitimize their rule. The city of Alexandria became the intellectual and cultural center of the Mediterranean world, home to the great library and lighthouse. But this was a Greek kingdom on Egyptian soil. The final pharaoh of Egypt was the brilliant and charismatic Cleopatra VII. She desperately tried to preserve Egypt's independence by forging alliances with Roman leaders Julius Caesar and later Mark Antony. But her fate, and Egypt's, was sealed at the Battle of Actium. Her defeat by Octavian, who would become Emperor Augustus, was the end of the line. In 30 BC, Cleopatra took her own life, and Egypt was formally annexed as a province of the Roman Empire. The 3,000-year-long line of pharaohs was over. The ancient religion, the hieroglyphic script, and the old way of life slowly faded away under Roman rule and the later rise of Christianity. The sands of time covered the temples, and the knowledge of the pharaohs was lost for centuries, waiting to be from the unification of two lands to a mighty empire that touched the heavens, and its slow fade into a Roman province. The story of ancient Egypt is a powerful lesson in the cycles of history. It's a tale of innovation, ambition, and the undeniable truth that even the greatest civilizations eventually come to an end. Thank you so much for joining us on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this exploration of ancient history, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into the past. Let us know in the comments which ancient civilization you'd like us to explore next. We'll see you in the next one.